Some of us think holding on makes us strong, but sometimes it is letting go. For me, the true hero is not the one who conquers cities, but the one who conquers himself. He dares to be alone, to wander the deserts of his soul, to meet his own shadow without fear. And when he returns, he does not bring trophies, but peace. My name is Hermann Hesse. I was born between silence and longing, too tender for a world that loves noise, too restless for one that fears depth. Since childhood, I've carried a quiet conviction that I stood a few steps away from life as others lived it, watching its rhythms without ever quite learning the dance. I spent years trying to mimic their movements, but my steps always led elsewhere, toward the forest, the river, the page, toward solitude. I used to think that solitude was exile. Now I know it is initiation. If you've ever felt out of tune with the world, too soft for its harshness, too thoughtful for its haste, stay with me. You are not broken. You are simply awake. You and I belong to the same invisible family, the ones who sense the sacred tremor beneath ordinary days, the ones who notice what others overlook, the ones who cannot bear to live half asleep. I tried once to belong. I laughed when others laughed. I praised what I did not love. I learned to wear the mask of comfort. But belonging, when it costs your truth, is not belonging. It is disappearance. One night, when the laughter around me sounded like an echo in a hollow room, I walked away. I did not know where I was going. Only that silence, though terrifying, was more honest than applause. In that silence, I learned the difference between loneliness and aloneness. Loneliness is a hunger for others. Aloneness is a meeting with yourself. It is the moment when the soul, stripped of distraction, finally hears its own music. That music may sound fragile at first, but it is yours. And once you recognize it, you cannot unhear it. The pain of being different is the pain of being awake in a world that dreams of conformity. But don't fear that pain. It is the fire that softens the metal before it becomes art. Every misunderstanding, every solitude, every exile, they are the forge where your true shape is made. And when that shape appears, the world might still not understand it. That's all right. Beauty was never meant to please everyone. It was meant to be true. Before we go further, let me tell you where you are. This is Sleepless Society, a quiet refuge for those who think too deeply to sleep easily. Each night, one voice stays awake for the others. Tolstoy, who found wisdom in simplicity. Camus, who turned despair into clarity. Marcus Aurelius, who met chaos with calm. And tonight, it is me, inviting you to walk beside me through the landscape of the mind, where being different becomes a form of freedom. If these words find you in the dark and you recognize your own reflection in them, then don't let it fade. Subscribe to this circle of sleepless souls, not as a follower, but as a companion. Every story here is a lantern, each thinker a small flame against the vastness of night. Together, we keep the fire alive. So take a breath. The world will keep spinning. The noise will keep shouting. But for now, let it pass. There is another rhythm waiting, the one that beats quietly beneath the surface of things. Listen closely. It's the rhythm of your own becoming. And as you listen, you'll hear footsteps, not of a crowd, but of a single soul walking toward the dawn. That is where our next path begins, the art of walking alone, not as escape, but as discovery, not in despair, but in wonder. I learned to walk alone, not because I was strong, but because I was tired of waiting for company. At first, every step felt like a confession. The world around me was still asleep, the streets hollow, the air cold and clean. I had spent too many years following other people's paths, hoping one of them would lead me home. That morning I understood. No one could walk this road for me. In solitude, the silence is sharp at first. It exposes you, strips you of noise and distraction. You want to run back to the familiar chatter, to the warmth of belonging. But if you stay, if you resist the urge to fill the quiet, you begin to hear something else. Beneath the hum of the city, beneath your own thoughts, there is another rhythm, the heartbeat of the world. I stopped searching for people who understood me. I started listening to the wind. It became my companion, my teacher, my mirror. It told me stories of trees that bend but do not break, of rivers that move by surrendering to their flow. It whispered that there is no hurry, that the soul, like the seasons, unfolds when it is ready. Walking alone taught me that solitude is not emptiness. It is space, the space where transformation begins. When you slow down, you'll find that the world begins to walk with you. The clouds move at your pace, the branches sway to your breath, and suddenly the distance between you and everything else disappears. You realize that the path was never outside, it was within. Most people run through life, terrified of stopping, afraid that silence might reveal too much. But silence is not your enemy. It is the mirror that shows you who you are when the crowd's reflection fades. Loneliness asks, where are they? Solitude asks, where am I? Only one of those questions will set you free. As I walked, I noticed how the smallest things began to glow. The way morning light touched the edge of a puddle, the hum of bees somewhere unseen, the warmth of my own breath in the cold. In stillness, the world stopped being scenery and became presence. Every step was an agreement between the earth and me. I will carry you, if you carry me. To walk alone is to reclaim your rhythm. It is to say, I will move at the speed of my soul. There is a kind of courage in that slowness, in refusing to rush towards meaning. The more I walked, the lighter I became. I stopped chasing purpose and began to notice it forming quietly beneath each step. And yet, the world will still call you strange. It will ask why you linger, why you look at trees as if they were speaking. It will not understand that you are not lost, you are listening. So keep walking. Do not hurry to arrive. The destination is not a place, it is a way of being. Every moment you spend in solitude is the world whispering its secrets back to you. And one day, when you've learned the rhythm of your own footsteps, something unexpected will appear ahead. A sound softer than the wind, older than time itself, the gentle voice of water, the river, the one that has been waiting for you all along. The river taught me how to listen, not to words but to rhythm, not to meaning but to movement. It showed me that everything in life, joy, sorrow, loss, renewal, flows from the same source and always returns there. When I sat by its edge, I saw my own restlessness mirrored in its current. For years, I had fought to shape life with my hands, to force understanding, to control direction. But the river does not fight the rocks, it sings around them. I began to realize that peace was not found in mastering the current, but in trusting it. To let go is not to give up, it is to join. The river does not ask where it is going, It simply becomes the journey. I envied that purity. I wanted to learn it. So, I listened, and in its endless murmur, I heard a truth so simple that it felt sacred. Flow, and you will find your shape. At first, I tried to imitate its calm, but imitation is still resistance in disguise. My thoughts raced like white water. My heart clung to every branch along the way. Regret, hope, memory. But slowly, as days passed, something softened. I stopped trying to stay dry. I stepped in. The cold bit my skin, the current pulled, and for the first time in my life, I let it. I let life move me without asking where it was taking me. And as I drifted, something in me broke open. All the tight knots of expectation, the need to be understood, the desire to prove myself, the endless hunger for belonging, unraveled. The river carried them away one by one, until there was nothing left to hold. Only movement, only now. It was then I understood. To live is not to control, but to align. We spend so much of our lives trying to belong, to people, to systems, to stories. But belonging is not an address, it is a vibration. The river belongs nowhere, yet it touches everything. It bends, it yields, it changes form. And in that constant surrender, it becomes infinite. In its song, I heard all things speak at once, the laughter of children upstream, the tears of the rain that fed it, the quiet surrender of the ocean waiting far ahead. Each sound belonged to the same melody, and suddenly, so did I. The more I listened, the more I understood that peace was never a destination. It is what happens when you stop trying to swim against what is. The moment you let the current carry you, even your wounds begin to glow. Because pain, too, has its flow. It shapes you, smooths you, teaches you to bend without breaking. I remember dipping my hands into the water and seeing my reflection tremble on its surface. For the first time, I didn't try to hold it still. I let it ripple, let it blur, let it become something new. And in that distortion, I saw something beautiful. Myself, finally unafraid to change. The river taught me patience. It taught me humility. It taught me that even when I am still, life moves within me. That there is a wisdom deeper than thought, a calm stronger than control. And that to listen, to truly listen, is to let the world speak through you. So if you ever find yourself lost, sit by a river. Watch how it accepts everything, the mud, the rain, the light, and still keep singing. You'll see that life is not something to understand. It is something to join. And as I listened to the river, I discovered a deeper lesson, not about the world, but about myself. Each man's life represents the road toward himself. No other road is the same. If he travels sincerely, he must become his own experiment, his own laboratory. Each life is a journey toward itself, and mine was no exception. For years I searched for meaning in books, in art, in silence. But the true path began the day I turned inward. There, behind every thought and virtue I had built, something waited in the dark. It had my face, but not my voice, my shadow. The world teaches us to polish our surfaces, to display only what glitters. But the soul refuses such simplicity. Within me lived a saint and a wolf, a poet and a wanderer, a believer and a skeptic. They quarreled endlessly, and I mistook their conflict for failure. I wanted to be pure, to be one. But purity is the illusion of those who have not yet met themselves. In time, I realized that what we call contradiction is simply the language of wholeness. The light needs the dark to see itself. The flame needs the night to reveal its glow. To deny one half is to cut the heart in two. We are all houses with many rooms, and to lock any of them is to become a stranger in our own home. I used to fear the darker voices within me, the anger, the desire, the envy, the hunger for freedom. I thought them dangerous, unworthy of the person I wanted to be. But repression does not kill the shadow. It starves it until it grows wild and breaks free. One night, I stopped resisting. I sat with my chaos. I let it speak. It did not roar. It whispered. It told me that rage was not evil, only misdirected life. That desire was not sin, only longing for unity. That doubt was not weakness, but the soul's way of breathing. For the first time, I saw that darkness does not destroy light. It defines it. Without the night, there is no dawn. You do not have to be one thing. You are 1,000 souls learning to dance. The task is not to silence them, but to conduct them, to let them find their rhythm, their harmony, their truth. Inside you, the warrior and the dreamer can coexist. The skeptic can pray. The wounded child can teach compassion. When I wrote Steppenwolf, I wanted to show that the split we feel inside, the division between our higher and lower selves, is not a flaw. It is the very structure of the human soul. Each of us is a battlefield and a symphony at once. The wise do not seek to erase the conflict. They learn to listen to it. Once you understand this, forgiveness becomes easier, not only for others, but for yourself. You stop punishing your contradictions. You begin to see that your light and your shadow have always been working together, shaping the same form, the person you are becoming. The greatest peace comes not from victory, but from reconciliation. When you stop trying to choose between your pieces, they finally begin to fit. You realize that strength is born from softness, that faith is deepened by doubt, and that love, the truest kind, must include the parts of you that still tremble. There is beauty in imperfection, holiness in complexity. The shadow is not an enemy. It is your oldest companion, following you faithfully until you are ready to turn around and embrace it. And once you stop judging your shadow, you begin to see beauty even in your darkness. It is not our purpose to become each other. It is to recognize each other, to learn to see the other and honor him for what he is. The older I grew, the more I saw that the world confuses strength with hardness. It rewards those who speak loudest, climb fastest, and strike first. But I found no peace there, only exhaustion. I learned instead that the real courage is not in dominance, but in gentleness. To stay tender in a world that asks you to harden, that is a quiet kind of heroism. Kindness is the rebellion of the wise. For years I mistook gentleness for weakness. I believed that to protect my heart I must close it. But a closed heart cannot see, cannot listen, cannot love. The gentle are not naive. They are simply those who refuse to let the world make them cruel. They know that every soul carries its own invisible wounds, and so they choose to move softly, because the ground beneath them is someone else's pain. The more I walked alone, the more I noticed this. Everyone, even the ones who seem strongest, is asking the same silent question. Do you see me? We crave recognition, not for our achievements, but for our essence. To see another person truly is to give them back to themselves. It is the purest form of love. I learned this watching people rush through life, eyes fixed on screens, words thrown like stones. The world moves fast, but the soul does not. It still blooms at the pace of seasons. To love in such a world is an act of resistance. It means slowing down when everything urges you to hurry. It means choosing presence over noise, kindness over victory. One day, in a crowded train station, I saw a child crying. No one stopped. Everyone was late for something. I did not have the words to comfort him, but I knelt and waited beside him until his mother returned. In that small silence, I realized, you don't need to fix pain to lessen it. You only need to share the space where it breathes. Compassion does not always speak. It listens. The gentle do not live apart from suffering. They walk through it like a forest, carefully, reverently. They carry no weapons, only light. And in their calm presence, even the wild things come closer. That is the secret of gentleness. It disarms without wounding. To be gentle in a cruel time is not passivity. It is power refined. It is the courage to keep your soul intact when everything tries to buy or break it. To forgive when you could retaliate. To understand when you could judge. To smile when the heart trembles. This is not weakness. This is mastery. And perhaps this is what it means to be human. Not to win, but to illuminate. To leave behind not scars, but warmth. I believe that if the world is ever healed, it will not be by conquerors or thinkers, but by those who remain kind when it would be easier not to be. So move softly, speak slowly, be the one who chooses calm over pride, tenderness over applause. It may feel small, but nothing gentle is ever wasted. Every act of patience changes the air around it. Every small kindness widens the circle of light. And as I learned to be gentle with others, I discovered something sacred, the garden within. Within you, there is a stillness and a sanctuary to which you can retreat at any time and be yourself. There came a time when I stopped searching for peace in distant places. I had crossed so many landscapes, cities, relationships, philosophies, hoping that somewhere serenity would be waiting for me like a destination. But peace, I discovered, is not found. It is cultivated. It grows in the quiet soil of your own being. I began to imagine my soul as a garden. At first it was overgrown, filled with weeds of worry, thorned with memories that refused to soften. Every noise of the world trampled it. But when I learned to step inside gently, with patience instead of judgment, I saw that beneath the chaos, life was still breathing there. Each day, I tended to it in small ways. I watered it with silence. I let sunlight in through gratitude. I removed the roots of resentment, one by one, even when they cut my hands. Slowly, tenderly, it began to grow again. The world outside remained restless. Men still argued, clocks still screamed. But within me, something changed. There was a stillness now, a sacred space untouched by comparison or noise. I realized that peace is not the absence of movement. It is the art of moving without losing your center. Tend to your soul like a small fire. Protect it from the wind of opinions. Feed it not with ambition, but with wonder. Let it burn softly, enough to warm your days, but never so fiercely that it consumes you. There is a strange strength in simplicity. Drinking tea without haste. Watching light shift across a wall. Hearing your own breath and realizing it is the oldest rhythm in the world. These are not small things. They are anchors. They remind you that even when the world spins madly, you are still allowed to be still. I found that when I began to honor the quiet within me, the noise around me lost its power. The insults of the world, the chaos of opinion, the hunger for validation, all became distant thunder. You cannot control the storm, but you can build a shelter where its sound becomes music. In that inner garden, I met myself again, the child who once looked at the world with unguarded awe, the poet who still believes that beauty can heal, the wanderer who no longer needs to arrive. I learned that self-care is not luxury, it is reverence. To care for your soul is to remember that you are something worth nurturing. The greatest peace is not given by the world, but grown from within it. When you cultivate that space, you begin to see differently. You look at others and realize that every person you meet is tending or neglecting their own hidden garden. And suddenly compassion blooms without effort. So be gentle with yourself. Sit sometimes in silence, not to escape the world, but to return to it with clearer eyes. Listen for the sound of your own pulse, the steady reminder that you are alive, that you are enough. And once the garden bloomed within me, I no longer needed to belong anywhere else. One never reaches home, but where paths that have an affinity for each other intersect, the whole world looks like home for a time. I have spent my life searching for a place to belong, a city, a circle, a soul that could say, "Here, you are understood." I looked for it in faces, in books, in silence. And yet, every time I thought I had found it, something in me kept walking. I used to see this as a flaw, this unending restlessness. But now, I see it for what it is, the sign of a spirit that was never meant to settle. Perhaps you were never meant to fit in, but to remind the world that freedom exists. We are taught to seek belonging as if it were a destination. But belonging is not about walls or names. It is about resonance. You belong wherever your truth is not too loud for the room. You belong wherever your silence is still welcome. And when you stop searching for your place in the crowd, you start finding kinship in the quiet. Not fitting in is not exile. It is invitation. When you walk your own path, you become a beacon for others lost in the dark. Without knowing it, your solitude becomes a signal. There is another way. The ones who see it will find you, not through noise, but through recognition. You will not need to speak. Your existence will be enough. I have met many wanderers in my life, people who thought themselves strange, misplaced, unfinished. But when they spoke, I heard the same language I had always spoken. It was not made of words, but of longing. And for a moment, as our paths crossed, the whole world looked like home. To not belong is to belong to everything. To be rootless is to be carried by the wind that touches all things. I no longer need the world to reflect me back to myself. I see my reflection everywhere, in the ripples of water, in the laughter of strangers, in the infinite patience of the sky. There's a peace that comes when you stop asking the world for permission to exist. You begin to see that you were never meant to fit inside it. You were meant to expand it. Your difference is not isolation. It is contribution. Each person who dares to live authentically widens the borders of what life can be. Now, when I walk through the night, I feel less like an outsider and more like a constellation, one small light among countless others. Separate, yes, but connected through the vast and tender fabric of being, no longer lost, simply luminous. The joy of not belonging is this: realizing that you were never a guest in the world. You were part of its creation. Every step you take, every kindness you offer, Every truth you live plants a seed in the soil of the collective heart. You belong not by resemblance, but by resonance. So rest now. You are not broken. You are simply walking a quieter path through a noisy world. And on that path, every tree, every breeze, every star already knows your name.